Randwick Local Planning Panel, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders past and present and the Aboriginal people in attendance today. Welcome to the Randwick Local Planning Panel meeting on the 7th of August 2026. I'm the chair of the panel. My name is Julie Walsh, and with me today are two expert members, Wise Fletcher and David Epstein, and community member Laurie O'Connor. Prior to the commencement of this meeting, all panel members were required to sign a declaration of interest in relation to each matter on the agenda. I can confirm that all declarations of interest have been received and that no conflicts were identified. I'll just ask the members whether that position has changed.
No.
Sure. And my position hasn't changed either. The signed declarations of interest will be available to view through Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. Today we have 10 people registered to address the panel over the three listed development applications. Some of them are here in person and some are joining us via Teams. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the panel, and a bell will ring at the end of 3 minutes, after which I may extend their time to speak for another 2 minutes, but at the end of 5 minutes, that will be it. And just in relation to that, I will say that we have received quite a volume of further written submissions in the last couple of days, which were very detailed, very thorough over the three development applications. We've all read those, so there's no need to go over those in detail, and obviously you're not going to have time to do that in 3 minutes. So if you could just concentrate on your main key points. Yes, so we've read those questions. After the speaker has addressed the panel, panel members may ask the speaker questions to clarify any matters. Only registered speakers will be allowed to speak and respond to questions from the panel. And once the speaker has spoken once, they won't be given an opportunity to speak apart from answering questions. Any person using defamatory or offensive language may be asked to leave the meeting, or the meeting may be adjourned. An audio recording is being made of this meeting, and we ask that speakers use the microphone on their device where they're joining via Teams to ensure that their comments are recorded. The audio recording will be available through Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. After all registered speakers have been heard, the panel will deliberate in private in a closed session and vote on each matter. And the panel determinations and with reasons will be available on the Council website within the next few days. So the first application with registered speakers is DA 52/26 239 Darley Road, Randwick. And there are two speakers, Stephen Solomon, the applicant, and Philip North, who's joining by Teams, the applicant's consultant, heritage expert. So, Mr. Solomon, would you like to sit at the table?
Just like get set up, I might just put these in front of each. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, where would you like me positioned?
Where would you like?
So you're in the camera.
Yeah, just don't stand in front of the screen. So you don't have to stand up. You can just sit down on the chair.
I'm happy to stand. Do you mind if I stand?
I don't mind if you stand.
Okay.
Most people sit, but
Sure.
whatever. Thank you.
Good. Chair and panel members. I'm not usually nervous in rooms like these. I spent 15 years competing for Australia across 2 Olympics, 5 World Championships and 3 Commonwealth Games. But I am nervous today because Council has recommended refusing my application. I believe that recommendation is deeply mistaken and condemns this frontage, which you all have in front of you, to further deterioration and shuts the door on a safer, more attractive streetscape. I'm grateful that you have independence to consider the evidence for yourselves. I'm here alone today because my wife is working as a physician at the intensive care unit at the hospital. In our own way, we all do what we can to help the support of our community. And today that responsibility is a privilege afforded to you. Let me state the facts, and if I say anything that you would dispute or would like qualified, please exercise that right that you have to ask me questions. I love answering questions. Now, all of our DAs today on the agenda have been coordinated in a position to you as the panel in the most harmonious congregation of changes along Darley Road. We've done so purposefully as a collective to improve the streetscape. Having said that, each application must be assessed on its individual merits, and we must be honest that my application at 239 Darley Road is very easy to approve regardless of the verdicts of other DA applications. At 239 Darley Road, I already have a garage. There is already vehicle access. I'm not asking to introduce access where none exists. I'm seeking to improve what is already there, removing a small section of a deteriorated wall at its lowest point, repositioning the stairs and improving visibility for pedestrians and motorists. Look at the photo that's in front of you, the first one. This is what your refusal preserves. Cracked stone, broken masonry, exposed gaps, overgrown vegetation, and stairs immediately besides a garage. I welcome each of the members to come and pick up the latest brick that fell off this wall only a few weeks ago. I would caution you to bend your knees when you do so. Is it generally the public domain's outcome we want to defend that's in front of you? Is it generally the public domain's outcome we want to defend? Because if it is, I do have a bridge that I would like to sell you. Now, Mr. North will address in detail Council's 9 objections, but broadly they fall into 3 categories. The first is heritage, the second is streetscape and precedent, and the third is technical compliance. As my 93-year-old grandmother would say, repetition never spoils a prayer, so you're going to be hearing a lot of that today, I'm sure. The first is heritage. The Land and Environment Court has already examined this exact wall, and I quote, "I therefore accept there is no heritage significance to the sandstone wall." That is not a disputable idea. That is a fact that was determined by the Land and Environmental Court. The neighbouring application involved creating a new opening through an unbroken wall. My property already has a garage and established access, very different. The second is the streetscape and precedent, and you can flip through the pages here. Look at the alternative that I'm providing here. A repaired frontage, safer stairs, improved sightlines, and materials consistent with the surrounding area. Approval at 239 would not give everyone else automatic permission to develop elsewhere. This idea of precedent can't go both ways because there has already been altercations along this wall multiple times throughout the years. So we can't ignore precedent, but we also can't accept that because it was available then, the same is true now. The third is technical compliance. If the drawings need adjusting, including a 260 millimetre, that's 3 fingernails worth, shortfall, I'm very willing to work with council to correct these plans, to create the appropriate conditions, or even a refined single entry garage, which I've provided in the supplementing materials, which I think you have seen. A correctable drawing should not condemn this frontage to continued deterioration. I respectfully ask you to approve this application subject to lawful conditions, or give me an opportunity, a defined opportunity, to refine it with council. 239 stands on its own merits. Do not mistake neglect for preservation. And please use your independent judgment to leave this part of Randwick safer and better than where it stands today. Thank you.
Let's check it. I didn't know. Thank you. Mr. North, are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, the sound quality isn't very good, so I'm just getting muffled.
Are you having trouble hearing us, or?
It's a little bit muffled, so I'm not sure if you
called
upon me to speak. Good, great, thank you. No, I think my client has very amply covered many of the topics that I was about to address myself, so forgive me if there's a little bit of repetition. But as you said, there are three matters being considered today. They're all separate applications. They're all closely linked with a common issue, being this sandstone retaining wall. How important is it, and how to manage the vehicular access through it? As he already said, there are differences. This one is perhaps the most different from the other two, in that there's already vehicular access, there's already a garage. However, the existing access and the existing garage, it's very tight. It has poor sight lines, and it's certainly not consistent with current standards. Furthermore, the retaining wall, however much value one would ascribe to it, only traverses part of the frontage, and where it does so, it's at its lowest, and also in its most poor state of repair. It's covered in weeds and it's pretty unsightly. The masonry garage and the masonry front fence, they're not particularly beautiful either, and they could, with all due respect to my client, they could do with an upgrade, which would be a very positive contribution to the streetscape. There's also a lack of street trees in this particular locality, where there is actually a great opportunity for them. So there are opportunities that are being missed. The proposal would rectify these issues with minimal impact on the totality of the retaining wall. And this is, I emphasise again, the part of the retaining wall that it's at its lowest point and it's at its furthest end, and in its least state of repair. Now, just in respect, and I'll go briefly through this, in respect of just addressing each of the reasons for refusal as cited in the planning report. First of all, zone objectives. This is an R3 zone. Arguably, this proposal would have a positive impact upon the streetscape by improving what is currently an unsightly mess. In terms of heritage, my client's already addressed the judgment given by the Land and Environment Court within the last 2 years, which was, once again, I'll quote from the Commissioner, the sandstone retaining wall does not demonstrate heritage significance, and there would be negligible impacts upon the heritage significance of the North Randwick Heritage Conservation Area and Queen's Park. And further, that the heritage significance issues raised are inconsistent with the stated character values within the North Randwick Heritage Conservation Area Statement of Significance and do not warrant refusal.
Sorry, that was the 3-minute bell, so I'll give you another 2 minutes, but I'll ask.
Right, thank you very much. I'll rip through these. There have been issues raised with access to dwellings. I think it's clause 3.8 of the DCP. One of the ways in which this could be addressed would be narrowing the garage and the driveway to single width, which I think my client has already indicated is quite happy to do. There's an issue with the minimum internal garage width not being adequate. Well, this is a minor non-compliance, and it could certainly be addressed once again by narrowing the garage to a single space. Issues with landscaping, well, once again, narrowing the garage would address all of these and result in ready compliance with deep soil, setback controls, etc. I think there is an issue that there was not adequate tree cover provided. That's very easily addressed. In addition to the 2 street trees that we're proposing here, it'd be quite easy to propose several more, either in the front setback area or to the rear of the site. So look, just summing up, this is all about improving the streetscape and safety to result in a more satisfactory outcome in all respects. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. I'll just check that under any questions. No questions for me. Thank you very much. So that were the 2 speakers in relation to the first DA. The next DA is 53/26/241 Darley Road, Randwick, and the first speaker is Mick Bowman.
I think I'll speak.
Oh, okay.
Katie Ryder.
Katie Ryder, okay.
just mindful, so can those online hear me? I'm just conscious that perhaps some couldn't speak up.
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, panel members. My name is Katie Ryder. I'm the joint owner of 241 Darley Road. This application is deeply personal to me. I grew up on Darley Road in the house next door. I know this street better than most. I know its history, its character, and its challenges. I'm also the mother of 2 young children. This application is not about wanting a luxury garage or a convenient lifestyle. It is about safety. Every day we unload children, prams, school bags, and groceries from vehicles parked on a busy arterial road. We open car doors into oncoming traffic and carry young children up and down stairs. That's assuming we can find a parking spot at all, in a location where on-street parking is heavily contested by residents, park users, and sporting groups. I would like to address what has become the central issue in this matter, the significance of the wall itself. Now, the applicant before me has presented to you images of where we sit on Darley Road and the wall and the state of that wall. As a legal practitioner with almost 2 decades of experience, I find it disappointing that the Land and Environment Court's decision in Ryder versus Randwick City Council continues to be mischaracterised as a decision preventing garage access or requiring the Darley Road wall to remain untouched. That is simply not what the court decided. The court expressly found that the sandstone retaining wall does not demonstrate heritage significance. Any heritage impact would be negligible, and the heritage concerns raised do not warrant refusal. The court's concern was a particular design response before it, not garage access. The proposal before you today is fundamentally different. It is a product of more than a year's work by neighbouring households acting together in response to the council's encouragement to pursue a coordinated outcome. In our case, this garage access is located at the lowest and most degraded section of the wall, immediately adjoining the existing garage opening at 239 Darley Road. No established trees or canopy will be removed as there are none on the site. Rather, the proposal provides an opportunity to significantly improve landscaping and the public domain. We are not asking the panel to approve the application exactly as lodged. We have repeatedly indicated that we are willing to work through any design issues with the council. That leads me to one final point. Throughout this process, we have acted in good faith and repeatedly sought to work constructively with council. The type of engagement that would ordinarily occur through the requisition and design refinement process has never occurred. Indeed, following the panel's earlier deferral to facilitate further design engagement, council advised that it was not persuaded a further meeting with council officers would assist in progressing the applications. From my perspective, that raises legitimate concerns about procedural fairness. The remaining issues are design and technical matters of the kind routinely addressed through amended plans, further consultation and conditions of consent. When the merits of our DA are considered objectively, the position is clear. The court found the wall is not of heritage significance. There are no established trees on this part of the site. Our proposal improves safety, upgrades the public domain, and has attracted significant community support, with 6 formal submissions in support of our DA and no objections. In addition, more than 100 members of the community have provided letters supporting improvements to this section of Darley Road in the context of our DAs. This is ultimately about safety, fairness, and common sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. I didn't have a question. Thank you. Next speaker is microphone. And I think I did indicate we did receive what we did. Reasons. Oh.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, panel, and good afternoon. We're here today because the current state of 241 Darley Road isn't just an access issue, it's a public safety liability. Our proposal fixes a recurring conflict between vehicles, prams and pedestrians. But earlier. I'm going to play a very short video. There is more included in your pack, so I encourage you to please review those. Now, looking at that video, you don't need a planner to tell you that these conditions are failing residents. Parents are forced into traffic, doors open to the road lane. This happens daily, and it definitely does not meet the DCP objectives to provide basic safety for residents and access. The existing garage at 239, the adjoining property, directly abuts pedestrian stairs with a 0-metre sightline. Our proposed design recesses that garage door and shifts the stair configuration more than 4 metres laterally, a much safer design. Panel members, I believe you all walk the footpath between 241 and 239 Darley Road, if I'm not mistaken. Now, if you don't remember, hopefully these images that you see on screen right now remind you of the significant accessibility failure that is present in front of our houses. The current path operates at this gradient that is 4 times steeper than the 1 in 20 threshold mandated by AS 1428.1. It lacks any compliant handrails alongside the footpath and relies on an unstable verge sloping aggressively into Darley Road. This presents a daily risk for our children and elderly parents. You'll see on screen now, the images here demonstrate that non-compliant, buried and steep public stairs are the existing reality across Darley Road. These stairs are located at 239, the adjoining property, at the front of 247 Darley Road and 253 Darley Road. I hope when you're on site, you also were able to walk those stairs to understand what we're presenting here to you today. Our proposal modernises the stair design. It does this to be compliant to the code, and it creates a much safer, more compliant pedestrian access for all users of Darley Road. Now, while we're modernising our site-specific access, it's also important to note that this design also fits within the established character of the precinct. In contrary to council's submission, front basement garages built in steep topography are already part of the Darley Road streetscape. We aren't trying to do anything unique here. We are simply seeking consistency in the application of planning standards. The council recently approved the removal of a public sandstone wall to allow vehicle access at 28 Boyce Road, Maroubra. Furthermore, at 10 Victory Street, Clovelly, a significantly more complex site involving a state heritage listed wall on the foreshore of Clovelly Beach. We aren't asking for special treatment here today. We are simply asking that the same practical benchmarks and precedent applied to those sites also be applied to ours. Now, entertain me for a sec. Let's just revisit the existing state. It's a dilapidated, weed-covered retaining wall with 0 canopy trees. Against our proposal before you today, it's beautiful. It's a high-quality recessed sandstone garage structure paired with safer public domain crossings. This design directly resolves severe existing traffic risks, rectifies non-compliant footpath geometry, and aligns with precedent across Randwick. This isn't a short journey. We've refined this design over 4 years to ensure it delivers a high-quality result for Darley Road. We've updated all geotech and landscape documentation to address the opposite concerns. The remaining issues raised are standard solvable refinements. In our submission, we've also proposed some draft conditions of consent that allow the panel to provide a pathway forward. Thank you very much for your time and consideration today.
I think that business. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, panel.
So if the North will be speaking next.
You're on mute.
Are you on mute? No, just take yourself off mute, Mr. North. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can.
Good. Look, once again, my client has very comprehensively covered the key points that I would have made. Many of the other points have already been addressed in respect of number 239. So I think that the main point is that most of the issues, and many of them are trivial issues or technical non-compliances, which could be rectified with minor adjustments, such as the amount of deep soil, such as the number of trees on site. But I think all you need to do is look at the comparisons between existing and proposed, and you can see readily that the end result is one of significantly increased landscape quality to the public streetscape. So the intention of this is to, I just reiterate this, is to significantly improve the currently very shabby streetscape with a more considered, better designed and detailed and more functional retaining wall, albeit slightly moved inwards onto the sort of private sites rather than on the public land, with significantly increased planting and more street trees, which you can see simply don't exist at the moment. And simply doing comparison between the photo renderings and the photographs of existing amply draws that out. There's also, and I also reiterate my client's reference to a very similar consent in similar circumstances at Boyce Road, which I think was issued within the last 12 months. 208 Boyce Road, Maroubra, R2 zone. Very similar set of circumstances, in fact, in relation to what is probably a retaining wall that is in much better condition and presents much more attractively to the streetscape than this one does. Also a much shorter retaining wall, so of course any penetration through it would have more impact upon the retaining wall as a whole, whereas this is actually a very, very long retaining wall that extends a considerable distance along the Darley Road streetscape. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Thank you. No, I didn't have any questions. So the last speaker for this item is Hugh Hyde-Page.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. My name is Hugh Hyde-Page, and I live at number 46 Hooper Street, which is about 2 blocks south of Darley Road, with my wife and 2 children. We've lived here for 4 years. And as a local resident and parent and regular user of Queen's Park, I want to speak to the application of 241 Darley Road here today. And I want to speak primarily around the existing footpath and stairs in front of that section of Darley Road, because we use them regularly. We traverse them every weekend and sometimes during the week. My daughter is actually home today from work, and so we have gone to Queen's Park today. In our experience, it is very difficult to traverse these stairs, and they are unsafe and difficult to navigate. And I'm sure just even as adults, you have experienced this going up and down those stairs. They are uneven and they have 0 sight lines when coming down onto that driveway there as well. Like many young families, we frequently walk with a pram, with bags, scooters, 1 kid in front, and the gradient of that part of the entering into those stairs, and I will say direct stairs down, I think is incredibly steep as well and challenging. And so it creates a significant safety risk, which we often avoid altogether. But the issue is that these sets of blocks all filter onto Darley Road that way. And so unless you are very aware of the situation, you can find yourself with a pram, 2 children, a bunch of bags trying to go down those stairs, even though it's sort of about 1 kilometre up or down the street, or 500 metres up or down the street, there are ways to get down and through directly. There's quite a contrast to the rest of the areas around Darley Road. And so clearly there is an opportunity here. What stands out for me for this proposal is that it doesn't simply benefit the homeowners at 241, but it also provides an opportunity to improve this section of the public domain and infrastructure that is right there for local residents to use. What a benefit that is. The proposed redesign and pedestrian access would create a much more practical and usable pathway for families up and down that wall. There's incredible difficulty with at any point to get down and onto access to Darley Road. And so older residents as well would greatly benefit from an improvement here. I also think that this proposal improves the appearance of Darley Road, quite frankly. The existing wall and surrounding area is tired and deteriorated. The wall's coming down basically, and there is a bunch of nondescript weeds and plants inserted on top of that wall that look like they are also damaging the wall at this point. As someone who regularly uses this part of the street, my view is that the proposal delivers a genuine public benefit, but quite frankly, the safety improvements that are required around accessibility and amenity towards Queen's Park and the rest of Darley Road, which has seen some improvements, is greatly warranted. So for those reasons, I respectfully encourage you and the panel to support this application. And thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it.
So thank you for coming on and speaking to me today, Mr. Page. The last matter before us is G 54/26 263 and 265 Darley Road Randwick, and the first speaker is Mark Zimmerman. Oh, sorry. Have I got that right?
Yeah. Well, Mark, would you
Thank you.
just like to say me?
Oh, you're on mute, sorry. Mr.
Sorry,
Zimmerman,
it
can you
was, yeah, sorry about that. It was not unmuting itself. Yes, I've registered as a speaker, but I've asked Chris to speak on my behalf, please.
So if I can
Oh, okay.
use his time and my time.
Oh, okay, sure. All right.
Both
Okay.
properties.
All right. Well, I'll just cross you off then. Yeah. Okay.
One second.
All right. So this is Chris Collicker.
Yes.
So Mr. Collicker will have 6 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chair and panel. Thank you for your time today. I'm here in support of 263 and 265 Darley Road. And the proposal that we want to put for you today is the proposal that the council has asked for. I echo the sentiments of Katie, Mick and Steve before us, and also Hugh for his comments as well. First, a little bit about myself. I am a father of 2. I'm here with my wife today. And Mark and Nikki also are parents. And we live with the same challenges, safety and access challenges on a daily basis that the other residents have talked about. In fact, I shared with council in a meeting last week that my car was in fact hit by a particle on a Sunday evening 2 years ago, whilst I was removing my youngest son from the car. The dent is still on the side of my door. The wing mirror flew off the car. I shudder to think what would have happened if I had been 20 seconds later turning around with Jack in my arms, because I literally had my back to the car that hit my car. So I live with this every day, and council know this. So the designs before you have been gleaned from the information that council has been able to share with us through various rounds of discussion. Although, as Katie said, council have not been forthcoming in their ability to engage with us, and neither through this DA process have we received an RFI or any request for additional information. So we have done our best to piece together what we believe to be a highly site responsive and sympathetic response to the environment that we live in. Now, building on what Mick was saying, let us be clear, Darley Road wall has been modified. Approximately 45 to 46 metres of wall has been lost in the last 30 plus years at both ends of the wall, as testified by 239. Where we live, at 265 and 263, that wall has actually increased the impediment of access for any homeowners in that space, taking away a slope and introducing stairs. So above and beyond the additional site specific safety concerns that everyone has shared today, we face that challenge. Further to this, Mark and Nikki did have an approval made to their house to insert a double garage in 2006, and the DA application's there on the screen. It subsequently lapsed, but it does show the council did see at one point in time in the not too distant future that this was a possible course of action and it would work. So we are merely asking to work in unison with our neighbours to provide a design solution that meets the needs of everything that we've discussed today. We talk a lot about precedent. I will talk about Boyce Road as well. But let me be clear on the precedent here. We've already talked about that loss of the wall. The wall is in fact two walls split by sandstone outcrop. I will talk about in a moment the fact that there are laneways behind 2618, our other adjoining neighbour, and similarly on the other side. Should the proposals at 241, 239, 265 and 263 be approved, those would be addressing those site-specific concerns. And should neighbours in the middle of the wall request further access in the future, they would need to be assessed on their own merits. Right. This is being clear. The laneways are there. The bookends we have talked about. Our sites on both ends sit at the outer ends of those laneways. The impact radius of those developments in terms of any hypothetical precedent is minimised considerably. Boyce Road, we've talked about Boyce Road. So this is a particularly attractive piece of wall that you'll see from my diagram here has already undergone significant wall removal in the last few decades. Houses 202, 204, 206 indicate that they all once must have had a wall there. I'm sure the DA applications exist, and similarly to the other side. And that then means that the fragment of wall that's left at 208, 209, 210, sorry, will be a bit of an outlier and lost that streetscape. So clearly, council find a way. Letter from Ray just last month indicates the decision-making processes that the General Manager and Planning Department made on that application. And we find that all three applications adhere to those same criteria. So we didn't choose the design parameters I'm putting forward today. Those were gleaned from the scant information that council would share with us over the last 4 years. As Cody said, we have acted in good faith. We, of course, at our end, are impacted by a couple of further considerations. Firstly, we have trees, and we actually like our trees, and we quite like to keep them. Secondly, the situation of our stairs must protect access for the houses at the house at 261A. And that is what our design solution has attempted to achieve. So what you will see in the plans that we've submitted to you is addressing all of the key dimensions that council submitted in their report to you back in May. We have reduced the width of our garages to single. What that has allowed us to do is to keep the public land large, mature gum tree. It also allows us to maintain the beautiful blueberry ash that's on the edge of our boundary. And it will create space for us to transplant the other Chinese elm should we feel collectively that that is the right course of action. We are also protecting, and may I note that palm tree was never in question of removal. Mark and Nikki have always wanted to keep it, and all of our designs right from the beginning have always protected the location of that palm tree, and we are protecting that palm tree. We're also then offering to plant the appropriate trees in the village on the nature strip on the new pavement area. So I've talked about that in here are all the trees. You can see that we're retaining all of those. Further to this, we do not in fact have any objections from our neighbours. You will note that 267 issued a further letter to the council on the 18th of March that was not submitted in its papers for D 5426, but we know that council has them on file. Similarly, 261A has confirmed that they are much happier with the design and they see it as a safer proposition, and they were never against the design. And finally, on 259, they were always in support. That letter has been interpreted as a there's an objection when it's in fact a letter of support. So I just wish there to correct the record. And as other residents have said, we have received considerable community support for upgrading the overall streetscape. So these are some photos and trailers that I took this morning at 7 a.m. when the sun was coming up. You can see that several of those trailers have flat tyres or have been there for many, many years. Council have made the argument that we will be losing parking for road users. The fact of the matter is, our ward is regularly dominated by buses, boats, and trailers that do not get moved. Are all similar to the ward. I couldn't bring a stone in today because it would have literally been hundreds of kilos. Is falling apart, right? It's putting our services at risk, as you can see. This is the solution that we are proposing today. A very green, sympathetic, and accessible approach for all users, not just pedestrians moving through the community, but for residents, because we are in fact also users of that road. And so with that in mind, I would request that the panel approve our application as per the Environmental Assessment Planning Act 1979 and subject to conditions that we put in the back of our report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the submission that was lodged on the 5th of August referred to some amended drawing being produced by Sig Design.
Yes, that's right. These ones here.
So are you actually asking for a referral to enable a full set of amended plans to be lodged and assessed in accordance with those drawings?
It's my understanding that the panel is able to approve based on the plans set in front of us. We were directed by council to take those plans directly to you. So that's what we've done. So we have an email from June this year.
So if we formed the view that we were unable to grant an approval subject to design modification conditions, that would actually require a full set of amended plans, but for other different, my understanding.
We are happy to work. I would be very, very happy to take what we've developed and work with council, but we respectfully request the direction to council is that they actually consult with us.
Okay, I just want to.
Yeah.
Okay. So is Mrs. Colcott wish to speak next, or
Would you like to?
or Mr. North?
I think Mr. North was
I think it's Mr. North.
Sure. Look, once again, I think my client has stolen my thunder and said most of the things that I would have said very, very ably. So all I'd say, forgive me if there's some repetition here, that this application is somewhat different from the others in that it reflects two sites in one application, not one. And of course, the reason for that is to achieve a more coherent and coordinated response. And also it involves issues of two substantial trees, which the other applications didn't involve. And finally, the applicant has put forward to the panel an amended set of plans which aim to address the reasons nominated for refusal in the assessment report. I'm just going directly to those. I think if you go to reason 4 relating to urban forest, we see that the amended plans address this issue by retaining all trees on site, by narrowing the garages to single width garages. There's more opportunity to retain the blueberry ash and perhaps relocate the Chinese elms. There's also more opportunity to provide additional tree planting on site, more deep soil and more landscaping. If you go to reason for refusal number 5, which relates to the controls relating to access through retaining walls, these controls nominate a maximum of single width access, and the amended plans address that by reducing the garages from double to single width. Reason number 6 relates to flooding. And once again, the amended plans address this by raising the level of the garage slab up very, very slightly. This is something which could be dealt with by way of condition in all likelihood in any case. Reason number 7 relating to the inadequate internal garage width. Once again, that's addressed by reducing the garages to single width only. Reason number 8, which relates to the safety of the stair location. Once again, this is addressed by narrowing the garage at number 263 to single width, so that provides greater separation between the foot of the stairs and the vehicular access. I might just note that the vehicular access and stair relationship at the first application, number 239, is exactly at present that which the assessment report took objection to. We go to reason for refusal number 13, which relates to inadequate documentation. And once again, the applicant has prepared additional information, including a more detailed ARMOS report. So once again, I'd simply emphasise that the objective of these applications is to remove unsightly and poorly maintained sections of retaining wall and replace them with higher quality, better designed, better considered and more functional elements. And I'll leave the panel with that thought.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. No, I didn't have any questions. So that brings us to the Angus Pulver.
You're on the line, Angus.
You're on mute, so. Mr. Pulver, could you take yourself off mute?
Chris will also just.
You're going to hold. Yeah.
I'll just.
Why don't we proceed with Mrs. Collicott and you're going to go outside and call him? Are you happy with that, or do you want us to wait? You want to go last?
No, I'm happy with that. So Mrs. Collicott.
You can come and sit up the table.
Thank you.
Apologies. The audio is so bad on my side. I wasn't sure if someone was asking me to unmute.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
No.
No, we can hear you now.
We can hear you, Mark. No.
Sorry.
Thank you. Please proceed, Mr. Pulver.
Well, I've got really trouble
sorry.
hearing, so I don't understand where we are. I can't hear. The audio is terrible on coming through on my side.
Hear. Okay.
So I'm happy for Chris and Fiona to speak on our behalf, but apologies.
If you can mute, Mark, we got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. So I'm Fiona Schoonen's mother to Harry, Jack, wife to Chris, and then Nikki and Mark have been referred to with their son James. I think all the issues have been spoken to, certainly for 263 to 5 by Chris and by Philip. And also the matters brought forth by 239 and 241 have also been very adequately argued. I'm not going to emphasise anything further other than just to reiterate that we have attempted over a considerable amount of time since 2022 to engage in good faith through every available process with council around what would be a sufficient site-specific outcome that would meet all requirements with respect to the streetscape of the community, and then also address the safety and security challenges that we also face. I'm sure Mark also wouldn't mind me speaking to this. Some of the considerations that we're also thinking about, which are also relevant to our neighbours, is ageing in place, being able to also address future health considerations. Mark has an operation planned in October of a serious nature, and they are also actively thinking about how to consider remaining in their home in the community in times ahead. So I thank the panel for their time and their consideration.
Just wait, I don't think there are any questions.
Angus has come on now as well.
So, Mr. Pulver's not going.
He's there. He's just arrived. I can see.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I'm late. What have the discussions been held from other residents already?
Yes, you're the last speaker, and yes, we're obviously dealing with 263 and 265 Darley Road.
Okay. Oh, look, all I wanted to say was, I'm the owner of 259 Darley Road, so a couple houses down from 263 and 265. I thought it was worth me speaking up today because effectively I'm going through a current situation where I don't see the current conditions as fit for purpose. So for your benefit, we bought the house 2 years ago. I've got a 5-month-old daughter. And I really don't think the conditions are safe for many different perspectives. So I guess firstly, I find the elevated walkway has very poor connection in its current form. I think the reduction of the length of that walkway would serve to improve accessibility and safety for all residents across that elevated walkway. So the proposal to, I think, shrink the walkway by an additional 10 metres to the ground plane is only going to further improve accessibility and safety. As it currently stands, we effectively have to load from very unsafe areas and carry our child up the stairs, and it isn't currently fit for purpose. The other thing I would like to call out is, and this has probably been talked through, but as it stands, it seems that the strip or the elevated walkway is not adequately maintained, and I think that's because it sits between two councils. So there's a lot of kind of visibility and safety issues around that as well. I think the proposal that has been put forward for 263 and 265 is a very a sound proposal that is in keeping with the character of the street. It would improve the visibility and accessibility of the space as well, and I'm a big supporter of the proposal. I think the views that have been expressed by the council in relation to parking, to be frank, I cannot understand where they're coming from because there is no impact to parking on a net basis whatsoever. The current parking situation in itself is inadequate because you've got no off-street garages available to residents on that accessible walkway, and there's no offering for parking that is effectively untimed. So it's only across the road that you're capped on a Wednesday, I think, for 4 hours. Otherwise, there is no bespoke parking for residents. So the objections to parking conditions I'm surprised by. Look, yeah. So in short, I'm a big supporter. Look, we don't have any plans at all to develop in the future, but I think that aside, the shrinking of that elevated walkway will improve accessibility for all residents along that walkway. So I'm a big supporter. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions? I just had one question. So 259 Darley Road, that doesn't have rear lane access?
No, we don't.
So that was the last speaker.
Can I say one thing?
One thing.
This really is a decision, as everyone's heard, where you have the power to actually change our lives. And the alternative is to not change a depleted, dying, unkept and unsafe wall. We could sum it up from everything that we've heard today. So thank you for the trust that you have in that.
Thank you for all coming on today. And I just wanted to confirm, someone asked that we obviously all went to the site on the last occasion. We read all of the voluminous business papers. We will consider the matter on its planning merits as we're obliged to do. And as I said, our decision with reasons will be based on the legislative days. So I now formally close the meeting. The time is 1 p.m. and
Thank you very much.